less rotund. He's not as chubby, he's not as chunky. Good morning, mushrooms, because it's always morning somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers, sisters, mothers, misters, and to all my cousins out there around the world, it's time to plug in and get the news train chugging. His running mate, they're not jogging together, they are running for the presidency and the vice presidency of the United States of America. We've got roommates, we've got flatmates, we've got housemates, we've got workmates. They're the people that you do things with. Animals, when they mate, it's talking about something else, kind of making the oogie boogie, if you will. An uncanny number of seabirds mate for life, which seems ridiculous because things disappear at sea. Let's learn more in the caption below. Gliding past Trump's sexist depictions of her as mean and nasty, the senator shredded his White House record. Start at the top here. Gliding, I love it. It implies movement in a smooth, sweeping fashion, much like a figure skater on the ice, moving with his fluidity, not choppy step by step by step, not lumbering around. She just gliding past his depictions of her as mean and nasty. To a depiction, typically, we're talking about, well, look in the middle. We got picture. Yeah? To picture somebody as, he's painting a picture of her, he's depicting of her as mean and nasty. Why? Because he doesn't like her. The senator shredded his White House record. And for all of you Ninja Turtle fans out there, I shouldn't have to explain this. The Shredder, the bad guy from the Ninja Turtles, he had blades everywhere, all over things, because he'd cut stuff up into little pieces, to tear things up into little pieces. For all the business people out there, for your sensitive documents, you can tear it up into pieces, like paper machines that shred paper. So we can shred pieces of paper. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick those up later. And so she shredded his White House record. Watch the video. I mean, this lady, she is awesome. She is smart. She is very competent, and she's not a pushover. She's not one that's going to back down. And I just can't wait to see how she just continues to shred or tear the house down into pieces. Moving on, Kamala Harris delivered a zinger on Trump, and that's related to the shredding here. A zinger is just a very, very incisive, a deep, cutting comment that it cuts to the bone and making fun of the person, typically criticizing, but usually in a playful way, but it also cuts deep, man, straight to the bone. That's a zinger. The Republicans are rushing, or are they Russian? Get it? All right. Russian to condemn Kamala Harris, but their message, it's here, it's there. They're not presenting a unified front, but to condemn, that's to criticize somebody, especially on moral grounds. That's about that. It's been on the show many times, and everything but the kitchen sink. It's just a fun phrase in English. It means that they were throwing spoons, and they were throwing napkins, and they were throwing anything they can find. Everything except for the kitchen sink, because the sink, you'd have to rip it out of the wall and throw it, and they're mostly old white dudes, and so they might hurt their back, and then not, so they can't throw that. I'm feeling extra punny. It might not be funny, but hey man, hopefully someday it'll earn me some money. Alright, have Mumbai slums achieved herd immunity? The slums, the poor neighborhoods, often made with improvised housing. It doesn't have to be, it just could be public housing and so on, but it's a poor and dilapidated area of town, often associated with danger and crime, etc. People of lower socioeconomic status. Herd immunity, though. The herd is a group of animals, much like cows or sheep. If you get enough members of the herd immune to something, then whatever illness it is can't pass, it'll die off before it's able to spread around. So that's herd immunity. But at the same time, now so many months into COVID, I don't think I need to go into the COVID terminology at this point. And so let's move on to physical fitness. Slim down. The UK PM wants the Brits to count their calories, blah, blah, blah. Boris, he's been out biking, so the picture says, and he's been doing some exercise, and he has become more slim, less rotund. He's not as chubby, he's not as chunky, and he's trying to focus on personal health, and that's good. Slim, it's a positive way of saying skinny. Skinny technically has kind of a negative connotation, and it means too thin. Yeah? And so, for more positive connotation, we have slim, slender, etc. But as a phrasal verb for losing weight, it's to slim down. We've got, surprise, some sort of Republican candidate believes in a baseless conspiracy theory. It is completely baseless. There is nothing to support it. There are no facts. There is no evidence. Notice I just kind of messed up there because facts are countable. There are no facts and there is no evidence. Evidence is uncountable. It's baseless. There's nothing for it to stand on. No foundation for those beliefs and comments. The Senate nightmare is coming true. It's just one of those phrases, just like when you blow out the candles on your birthday cake, you're supposed to make a wish, and if you tell somebody what you wish for, your wishes will not come true. If something is coming true, it could be a dream, a nightmare, a wish. If it comes true, it means that the thing that you wanted is now effectively happening. World War II hero was honored 78 years after going down with guns blazing with his ship. So he went down with his ship. Much like on the Titanic, the band just kept playing the song as the ship was sinking, trying to keep people calm. Well, this guy, he went down with the ship, guns blazing, pop, 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 trying to shoot down enemies until he eventually went down under the water with the ship. Guns blazing. This is very literal. We also use it figuratively if you're firing insults or criticisms at people. And also we use going down with the ship as a metaphor for people who basically decide not to save themselves, but sacrifice themselves for a greater cause. Sometimes misguidedly, that is true, but cool. Let's move on to COVID and Broadway. Andrew Lloyd Webber has volunteered for a vaccine trial. He's willing to be a guinea pig, a lab rat. Who knows what these initial vaccines are? Just like anytime they have a new operating system or any other sort of new technology, I'm not going to take the first edition. I'm going to wait for it to come out of beta, so that way then we get something that's fully functional and it's not going to screw us. Oh, there it is. Good morning, mushrooms. Oh, she's got... Yes, my wife subscribes to the channel. Thank you, honey. I appreciate the support. Oh, yeah. But the point being, to volunteer for. Volunteer for, or volunteer to do something. People have been booing athletes for voicing their opinion. To boo, boo, or hiss. Apparently to hiss and to boo means to criticize. Or we can clap, hurrah, we can cheer, we can applaud, give a standing ovation, etc. Steve Martin, comic legend, was paying a tribute to him. How did I not highlight that? Come on, I just got distracted by the phrasal verb here. But Steve Martin and other comedians were paying a tribute to Eugene Levy, saluting him for his career achievements, and he got a little bit emotional. He teared up. He didn't tear up, much like I did with the piece of paper to illustrate shredding. He teared up. He got a little bit moist in the eye. No, I'm not crying. It's just some breeze. It's my allergies. There's some dust in my eye. He teared up. He was choking back the tears. He didn't want to start weeping. Sorry, that's just some recycled vocabulary from Monday, maybe Friday. I don't know. Moving on to sports. Just a quick little point. To prove is the verb. Proof is the noun. Yes? To prove something with proof, evidence, facts, etc. People mix it up, students mix it up quite a bit because actually they the same point and manner of articulation. However, one of the consonants is voiced, and the other is unvoiced. All right. I just had to throw that in there. Yeah, he is a teacher at heart. An extinct large blue butterfly has been successfully reintroduced into the United Kingdom. Oh, that's very nice. And so they're bringing it back. They were virtually extinct. They were on the brink of extinction. Maybe, perhaps, they already had gone extinct in the UK. However, they also existed somewhere else, and they've reintroduced the species, and now I don't know if they're thriving or flourishing. However, they're back, and so that's good. Extinct means there's no more of them. They've been wiped out by natural selection or human interference. Before things go extinct, they are endangered, much like all of us. By dual crises. Yeah, to cry out in protest, to cry out in pain, they're just making their voices heard. But dual, meaning two, not one, but two. Dual. All right, and dual what? Dual crises. Yes, that is the plural of crisis. If we've got a crisis, then we have crises. Was punched in the face. Nice reduced passive. Was punched in the face by a jerk for enforcing the park's mask policy. All right, to enforce a rule or a law, they can be on the books, they can be written, but if nobody is enforcing them, which means making sure that the public abides by the laws, then they mean nothing. And so we need, probably sadly, some minimum wage employee risking his health for basically peanuts, and then as well gets punched just for doing his job or her job. Don't believe they punched the girl in the face, but who knows? Anything's possible. America, probably Florida. Moving on. Their first ever hotel in a wooden castle, which is breathing new life into this fading rural town. It's fading. It's slowly disappearing. There's less and less of it. Not the town, the population. Fade. To fade out, fade away. There's a twist because he painted himself in many, many paintings. He always kind of like, he basically photobombed people's portraits, and he'd paint himself into a corner as a servant or something like that. But apparently there's a twist in the plot. It's not as straightforward as you think. He didn't look like a little girl. He apparently looked like Jesus. I don't know. But due to the reconstruction, apparently he painted himself more attractive than he was in real life. Surprise! In astonishing, shocking, surprising, amazing comeback win, because they came back. They were losing and they came back and won, I'm assuming, because when you come back, it means back from a worse position back to a good position. Animal news! Birds and reptiles cry similar tears to humans, says new research. And so at first I thought, cry tears similar to humans. Okay, birds can cry like us. But it's not that they can cry like us. Their tears themselves are actually similar to ours. And so if you see a bird crying and you licked its eyeball, it would taste salty. And so if you see a sad bird, well, first of all, try and cheer him up, but then lick the tears away. I don't know. Lawyers are mobilizing for all-out war over the U.S. election. Remember, in life, no matter who wins or loses in the battles of life, there's always a clear winner, and those are the lawyers. Yeah, but they are mobilizing. They are getting ready to deploy their resources to the strategic places necessary. Yeah, and all out, complete and total. Like World War II, where we're just going to bomb civilians and destroy everything. All out, full on, completely. Blue collar worker? Trump is not your friend. Just wanted to point this out. We've got blue collar workers and we've got white collar workers. Just a differentiation because we like to just polarize everything in life. But the blue, this is the collar. My t-shirt has a normal collar on it. Actually, it doesn't have a collar, to be honest. But blue collar workers are typically laborers or people that work with their hands, factory workers, etc. And then white collar workers are people who work in the office. And they can wear white shirts because they're not going to get dirty. But the other guys, they get the blue shirts because they get dirty at the end of the day. And so it's about the office versus the laborer. That's it. It's just a common phrase in English that not a lot of people, not everybody knows, and it's not immediately clear and obvious. If you think your mask makes you invisible, young man, not so fast. Think again. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't jump the gun. Don't just make these assumptions. Yes, you are not invisible. AI knows who you are. It's not just from here down. It's the eyebrows. I don't know. But they still know who you are. If you are invisible, that means something can't see you. It's not able to recognize who you are. And not so fast is just a common phrase where you want somebody to slow down, don't get ahead of themselves, don't jump to conclusions, don't make assumptions, because when you assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. Get it? That's how you spell assume. Who knew? You can use it as a verb as well. Of course, everybody knows that their husband or their wife or their boyfriend or their girlfriend, that is their partner. Ta-da! But we can use it as a verb. And when you partner, you're doing it together. So logically, you partner with somebody else. So Instacart and Walmart are partnering with each other to compete with Amazon. And that's just one of those funny ones, because then in a competition, yes, you do need to compete with somebody. You need to work together to work against each other. That's the weird thing. And so with, we often use. However, writing, it would sound better. Instacart partners with Walmart to compete against Amazon, because technically they are competing, they're fighting against each other, not just with each other. She's become incredibly famous for lip syncing Trump, basically. She's a viral video star, and she has landed a Netflix special. And a Netflix special is not an airplane. She's not bringing it back down to terra firma. But to land something, especially like a job or even just to land an interview with the company, it's the idea of fishing. And with fishing, you're often standing on the land and the fish is in the water, and you catch the fish and you're fighting and finally you bring it back to the land, and then the fish is yours. You have it. And so she caught this fish. And congratulations to her. It's probably a pretty big fish. Kudos to you. Bravo. Late night hosts are heading back to the studios. To head somewhere. We use it as a verb. It's because when we're going somewhere, we lead with our head and we follow our head. And so if we are heading somewhere, that's where we're going. Right now, I'm going to finish this broadcast and probably head downstairs and go get me some more water, because I've been talking for 44 minutes now and my mouth is dry. For English Otherwise, that was breaking down the news, and we moved the show. We flip-flopped my life from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We're doing the Twitch program in the evenings. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I love to see you bantering in the comments, asking questions, and making fun of me and each other. That's great. Do please click the follows, the likes on YouTube, here, Facebook, subscribe. And most importantly, if you like what we do, pass it along to a friend. Help make the world a better place. If I don't see you sooner, I'll see you at 8 p.m. tomorrow.